We're going to walk over back to where I was. We're going to show you how I am walking just on, this is grass, but this is now snow. I mean, not much, but it's enough to play with. Now back to your question about the roads. People who knew the officer and people who didn't know him have stopped here at the Casey Police Department, leaving flowers, gifts, and notes just thanking him for his service. What happened here at this house on Whitney Street was the result of arson. Deputies say when they arrived on scene, they found a man with a gunshot wound inside of a car. He was still in handcuffs from earlier in the day, but right now we do know that he was captured. Tragic update that we just received minutes ago. Like you said, we know that one person is dead. Despite what your travel plans are for the holidays, your vaccination status is more important than ever. If you take a look behind me, that is where they found the body of 15-year-old Sanai Amenhotep 3 weeks after she went missing. They ran to the door, they took cover, and thankfully everyone in this situation made it out safely. And they're going to be handing out these box fans to help people get through this horrible heat.
Now, the guilty verdict sitting well with the prosecution. We continue our team coverage now with our Kelsey Sanchez. She was there as prosecutors talked about the case just minutes after Roland was sentenced. She's live in Columbia's 5 Points with that reaction. Kelsey, what do they have to say?
Brian, 5 Points is where this case all began. It is the last place Samantha Josephson was last seen alive more than 2 years ago. Now, the family didn't talk to reporters after today's sentencing, but we did hear from solicitor Byron Gibson, who says that they are satisfied with the outcome today.
And the truth is that Nathaniel Roland kidnapped and murdered Samantha Josephson, and he possessed a weapon while doing it.
Evidence and teamwork. That's what Fifth Circuit solicitor Byron Gibson said led to the conviction of Nathaniel Roland. The prosecution presenting DNA, surveillance, phone tracking, and dozens of witnesses during the more than week-long trial.
Law enforcement was thorough with the investigation. We were thorough in combing through everything that they produced so that we could make sure we got the right person. And we did get the right person.
Gibson crediting his colleagues and the investigators involved in the case over the last 2 years. Gibson adding a key factor was the effort by Samantha Josephson's friends the night she vanished in March 2019 after getting into Roland's car in 5 Points thinking it was an Uber.
A tip of the hat that has to go to her friends for being able to track her and just knowing what her whereabouts would have been and knowing how what her normal activities were.
A big question not brought up at trial was whether there was any kind of relationship between Josephson and Roland. Gibson simply saying it was a random act of violence.
To everything that we have been able to prove, they did not know one another.
While Josephson's family did not speak after Tuesday's sentencing, Gibson says they are satisfied with the verdict and sentencing.
It does bring closure to this act, but it should also be a reminder of, number one, we got to hug our loved ones because life is precious.
Now, Gibson also mentioned that this case serves as a lesson to everyone to be vigilant when it comes to using rideshare services. We're live in 5 Points tonight. I'm Kelsey Sanchez. Watch Fox News Local First. Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook confirming that 12 people were hurt, 10 people were shot, and they now have 3 people detained for the incident. Chaos and fear at Columbiana Center Mall Saturday afternoon after multiple rounds of gunfire was reported inside.
What we know is at least 3 people were seen with firearms inside the mall, and at least 1 person fired a weapon.
Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook say those gunshots left 10 people hurt, sending the majority to area hospitals. 2 others were injured due to a stampede inside the mall. The victims' ages ranging from 15 to 73 years old.
We don't believe this was random. I think that's very important in situations like this. We believe that the individuals that were armed knew each other. And there was some type of conflict that occurred that resulted in gunfire.
Multiple law enforcement agencies were on scene, including Columbia Police, Lexington County Sheriff's Department, SLUD, the FBI, and ATF. The entire area of the mall was blocked off for hours as investigators secured the area and did multiple sweeps of the mall. Shoppers and mall employees who were still inside following the shooting were asked to shelter in place until law enforcement safely escorted them out.
It's important that we put out now is that we have no fatalities.
Columbiana Center Mall is closed until further notice. In Columbia, Kelsey Sanchez, Watch Fox News, Local First.
tonight, an elected official saying sorry after she was arrested and charged with threatening the life of a public employee. The Richland 2 school board member bonded out of jail just last week and just a few hours ago was back at work.
Yeah, our Kelsey Sanchez was at the Richland 2 board meeting just a short time ago. She joins us live now from Richland County with the very latest. Kelsey.
Yeah, Brian, Samantha, this was the first time since her arrest that LaShonda McFadden was back at the district office alongside her fellow board members. But before she joined tonight's meeting, she apologized.
How are we going to get the guns? The key is don't let them get into the school to begin with, you know.
Almost a week after LaShonda McFadden bonded out of jail, she was back at work Tuesday night as a Richland School District 2 board member. Safety and security at schools was on the agenda Tuesday night. But before board members dove into the issue, McFadden was outside the district office apologizing for her arrest.
I would like to begin by apologizing to Dr. Teresa Holmes for the words that I said to her. They were very disrespectful, and that is not something that I should be saying to any elders or a human being at all.
McFadden turned herself in last week after charges were brought against her saying she made threats to fellow board member Teresa Holmes during a board meeting. Holmes was not present at Tuesday's special committee meeting. Since the incident, Watch Fox News has learned about a petition generated by a parent calling for disciplinary action against both of the board members, including their possible removal from the board.
I'm truly, utterly disgusted with what I said. And for those who are calling for my resignation, I ask for your forgiveness and for another chance. I know apologies don't mean much, but a changed behavior does. And that's what you can look forward to me having from now on. Again, to the community, I truly apologize.
According to a judge, McFadden is not allowed to have direct contact with Holmes. Right now, McFadden is still employed by the district until further notice. No word yet when the next court hearing for McFadden is. Now, during Tuesday's meeting, going back to what they were discussing, safety and security in schools, we have reported a string of incidents recently. And in Richland 2 alone, there have been 3 reported incidents in the last few months of students bringing those weapons to school. Now, the goal of the meeting tonight was to just brainstorm some ideas to keep children safe and keep guns out of school. Now, some things that did come up were metal detectors, possibly bringing in dogs in and out, and conflict resolution was a big one for school board members. But the next step is to release a survey for students and parents to see and get their feedback. But for now, we are live in Richland County. I'm Kelsey Sanchez, Watch Fox News, Local First.